everyone, I'm Holly, and today I'm making a coffee soap for the Farmhouse collection. So I want to put in the coffee first, and I just brewed some coffee a little bit earlier in the day, a little double strength and espresso no less, so nice. Has a little bit of the dregs, is that what they call it, the dregs? It didn't all go in, as you can see. But that's okay because we're going to actually add a little bit of grounds to this one today. And goat milk and the buttermilk. So I will get these all blended in nicely. I do also want to add in some mica, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now so that it can get blended in. So here's the thing. That looks like way more than actually was in there. So one of my pet peeves is a soap that discolors really spottily, if that makes sense. And that happens a lot when working with the coffee fragrances, especially the one I'm working with today. So I wanted to go ahead and color it. It's not going to be a super dark discoloring fragrance on its own, but I did want it to be a little bit darker. But I will probably add in a little bit of titanium dioxide as well. So I want it to be the brown and then lightened. If I just added the brown without the white, it would just be a little bit more, I know, a little bit more to the yellow side instead of to the creamy side. So I had a couple of thought processes of why I wanted coffee in my Farmhouse collection. One, I do want it to be a little bit of like a kitchen soap, and that will help with the, I can't make any claims and I can't confirm that it will help, but typically coffee will help with onion and garlic smells on your hands. We'll just have to try it out and see if it actually has that benefit at all. You may have noticed that it was just a little bit cloudy, the lye solution, and the reason why is because it was so reduced. I had a lot of coffee, I had the goat milk, I had the buttermilk, I had sodium lactate, and a reduced solution like that does tend to be a little bit cloudy. I am starting to pick up a strong scent. The lye is reacting now with the coffee, and it can make a bit of a smell, but that does go away. I want to just give this a nice stir, but I need to take out the stick blender and get it out of the way for a moment. Need to bring in one of my Mahusiv spatulas. Oh, that's so nice. Anyway, the other reason why I'm including it is because one of my fondest memories of spending time at the ranch in Wyoming with my grandparents and my aunt and my uncle, because they all lived there on the ranch, and even my great grandma back in the day, was the coffee. I always woke up to the smell of coffee because they woke up so early. Of course, I was an early riser too, but that was a great memory. And I'd get up, there'd be my grandma and grandpa, and maybe my Aunt Lenny, just drinking coffee and getting the day going. I'll tell you about the coffee grounds. Okay, so this is espresso, and it's from Starbucks, and this is what I brewed the coffee with. So I took them out. I'm grinding them a bit more. I took the grounds and I spread them out to dry, and then I have just been kind of breaking them up a little bit more. Used coffee grounds are the best for grounds inside of a soap. They're not quite as harsh, but they look just like the way they started. So I'm going to start by adding in, ooh-wee, that wind is just a whipping outside. It is making the windows creak. Good golly. Oh my. I know you can't hear that probably, but it's almost a little spooky. Wow. Our weather is changing. It was 60 degrees this morning, and now it is going to be very cool. Only in the 30s tomorrow, I think. So I'm going to add one more tablespoon. See what I think. Then this will get broken in. What I mean by that is any like little clumps will get broken down when I add in the fragrance oil and blend it. So I think I'm really liking it as is. I don't think I'm going to add any more of the grounds. So this will be a little bit of a scrubby soap. So if somebody's sensitive to that, this may not be the soap for you, unfortunately. And now I'm going to put in the fragrance oil. Oh, so good. Another reason that we use the used grounds is because they tend to bleed in soap, and what that means in this situation is that the color kind of bleeds out, so they'll get a bit of a halo sometimes. Ooh, this makes me think of a mocha. Yum. So it's just at a real thin trace. Can you see that? Try to go. I know you guys are seeing the shadow of my light box quite a bit in the reflection, but if you can see that it's leaving a trace. Okay, I have my mold, and the soap is starting to get thick now. Let's give this a go. Oh, this is going to be so delightful. I love the look of speckles in soap, but I don't tend to use it very much. Use speckly things because I don't want it to cut out my customers. But I just wanted to do it on this coffee soap in particular. So it's popping all these air bubbles, but I do have to scrape this pot still. So I'll be over here for the next 10 minutes scraping the pot. I've been keeping these tops just super simple, just making a little bit of texture with the spatula. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Love this. This was a last minute decision. I did not know I was doing that. I did not know I was doing this one until this morning. I kind of had it in mind, and then I forgot. And then I'm like, you know what? we are going to do it. Nice. Okay, doesn't that look super duper? I'm gonna move this over to the table, and in case it shifts, and then I'll clean the edges. So I will see you back here for the cut. All right, so I'm working on cutting up this coffee soap, and it turned out so nice. It's exactly what I was hoping for as far as the color. And I guess I need to set it down for a minute. Just super pleased with the color. I did get a little bit of ash. This loaf isn't too bad. Some of the others were a little bit worse. It's super cold up here nowadays. It's in the 50s inside this room right now. And so this coffee soap gets really hot. So it has just some temperature fluctuations, and that can cause more of the I had to put some effort into that. It can cause more of the ashing. So we do have some discoloration to do. And it almost has a goofy mottled look. And I do believe that a lot of that has to do with it being really hot. So my coffee soaps always overheat. This one did not crack, at least. A lot of times they crack on the top. It was the first time I'd ever seen a soap crack was with my coffee soap. So that's the story with that. But it left a little bit of splotchiness, but I noticed it's not there on the side. So I do believe some of the discoloration just kind of covers it up. So that's cool. The inside coffee, the coffee grounds, they did kind of bleed out a little bit, but it looks really nice on the side of the bar. So I'm going to be pleased with it. The discoloration is not very strong compared to the color of the soap. It's really just not much at all. So I really like it. And this is one of the nicest smelling and happy coffee soaps I've ever made. So pleased with its simplicity of the design, and just it being single color with the grounds. I just really am liking it. I'm trying to cut things a little differently, and it is easier not trying to line anything up. I just push it to the end and go from there. I had my reasons of why we did it the other way, but I'm just going to try to work around that a bit, and we'll just do it this way because it is quite a bit easier. Now this one was an end cut. Wonder where did I put that other end one? I must have stuck it in there somewhere. But I usually slide it over so that I get a little sliver as a sample, but it also creates a very straight bar, whereas where the freezer paper was, it's always a little curvy, and it sometimes can make, well, and there's a little bit of rippling too from where the freezer paper was. So typically I try to do an end cut. But the way we've been cutting them differently, we end up with those anyway. So this is just a little bit easier. It seems to keep it from shifting quite as much. And that I can really appreciate. Oh, this is like, to me, this is just the ideal coffee soap. I love designs, but I also love simplicity. So this is just the way to go for this Farmhouse Collection soap. I've been doing some research on Ancestry again. Kind of got the bug over the holidays. I started watching Finding Your Roots. It was a PBS show about Ancestry. And I just love that guy that does the show. Henry Gates Jr., I think is his name. He's just epic, I think. But anywho, it always gets me inspired, you know, to go back and look at stuff. And so on newspapers.com, I looked up my great grandpa's ranch, which was my grandpa's also. And I saw bull sales, ads in the papers, and I saw a picture of my great grandpa he had a prize winning bull at one of the shows in Casper, Wyoming. And my great grandma Lenny was also getting awards for, it didn't really make a lot of sense. I'm not quite sure what she was getting awarded for, but it was at that Wyoming like Hereford show. So that was cool. It's always fun when you can find your family members talked about. I've been looking around some more. I'm not really having much luck with on one side of my family, and don't have much luck with my husband's side, but did find an obituary for my husband's great-grandfather. I think he was. I'm pretty sure it was the great-grandfather in a picture, and that was just the coolest thing. We'd never seen, we didn't know what he looked like. So that was just neat-o. I love it. So this coffee, but coffee, like I said in the making, it just reminds me of being at the ranch in Wyoming and my grandparents and my aunt and uncle getting up early to have coffee before they really got started. And oh, I just love it. Good memories. And this farmhouse collection, in addition to just it being coffee, I don't know, I just love it. This one has like a cool top on it. So this will be just a mildly scrubby soap. It might be a good, you know, after you've been working and your hands are a little bit dirty, sometimes you need a little bit of extra help to get the gunk off. This might help, but we'll see. I don't make any claims. I just make soap. I make soap that I like and it looks really nice and works even better. That's my goal. So here we have the coffee soap for the farmhouse collection. I think it turned out really nice. And thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.